The greatest mistake your enemies ever made was believing their small, narrow minds could measure your greatness. They thought they had you figured out. They laughed at you, dismissed you, and whispered behind your back like cowards. They mistook your patience for ignorance and your quiet power for weakness. But now they are choking on their own arrogance, watching in stunned disbelief as you rise in ways they never imagined. Their confidence is cracking, their pride is rotting from within, and the truth is hitting them harder than they ever hit you. They were blind to the brilliance standing right in front of them, convinced you were beneath them, someone unworthy of recognition, but their ignorance has turned into their curse. Now they can't escape the humiliation of knowing they miscalculated badly. The same ones who sneered at you and convinced themselves you were insignificant are now forced to witness your rise beyond their reach. They built their illusions of superiority on shifting sand, and now the tide is crashing in, sweeping away their false sense of control. Every victory you claim, every step you take forward, is another crack in their delusions. Every success you achieve is a harsh reminder that they were never on your level to begin with. And you, the chosen one, must receive this message well. Press that like and subscribe button to spread this truth to more chosen ones. Every time you engage, you signal to the universe and YouTube to push this message further. Let them see, let them feel it, because the more of us awaken, the faster their illusions crumble. You see, chosen one, this isn't just revenge. This is balance being restored. The universe doesn't let arrogance go unchecked. When they dismissed you, they weren't just insulting you, they were mocking the forces that chose you. And now they are haunted by their own ignorance. The power that surrounds you, the wisdom that guides you, was never meant for them. That's why they mistook it for nothing. But the universe has a way of making people pay for their arrogance without you lifting a single finger. That's why they're restless. That's why their thoughts are eating them alive. They can't stop replaying those moments. The moments when they could have treated you better, could have listened instead of laughed. They underestimated something they were never meant to understand, and now regret is chewing them to pieces. Watch how their energy shifts when you enter the room. Notice how they shrink, how they avoid eye contact, how their confidence deflates like a punctured balloon. They know, oh they know, your presence alone is judgment. The weight of their foolishness sits on their chest like a boulder, pressing down with every success you claim. That is the price of underestimating a chosen one. Your very existence haunts them. They see your growth, your power, and it terrifies them because deep down, they know they had access to something extraordinary and they threw it away. They thought they were above you, but now they're scrambling. Scrambling to convince themselves they never needed you. But we both know the truth. They lost something they will never get back. And the best part, you didn't even have to do anything. You didn't need to seek revenge. You didn't need to explain yourself. You just became more, and the universe took care of the rest. Because that's how it works. When a chosen one is underestimated, overlooked, and mistreated, the universe keeps the score. And when it's time to balance the scales, oh, it doesn't just correct the mistake. It makes them feel every ounce of their foolishness. So walk tall. Keep winning. Keep proving that their opinions never mattered. Because the biggest punishment for your enemies isn't your anger, it's your success. And trust me, they feel it every single day. Now, chosen one, whether this is your first time here or you've been standing strong with us, your presence is part of this unstoppable force. They doubted you, they dismissed you, but now every second you spend sharpening your mind, embracing your power, and refusing to shrink, that's their nightmare coming true. So if you're ready to make them feel the full weight of their mistake, smash that like button, hit subscribe, and drop number 88 in the comments to claim the intelligence they thought you never had. And now, let's break it all down, step by step. Because if you're truly chosen, you'll feel the pull to stay till the very end. Let's get into it. Number 1. They thought you were nothing. Now their own arrogance is their undoing. The deadliest mistake? Underestimating the one who was silently studying their every weakness. They never saw you coming, not because you were weak, not because you were unremarkable, but because you never played their game. While they flaunted their so-called intelligence, soaking up validation like a drug, you stayed quiet. You sharpened your mind. You mastered the unseen. They mistook your silence for stupidity. They mistook your patience for powerlessness. But now they're choking on their own miscalculation. The universe has always been in your favor, aligning every challenge, every setback, every betrayal to forge you into something unstoppable. They played their little games, manipulating, scheming, thinking they had the upper hand, but what they didn't realize, the system they thought they controlled was never built for them. The chosen ones have always operated outside their illusions, moving in ways they can't predict, thinking in ways they can't comprehend. They laughed at you, dismissed you, whispered behind closed doors. But now those doors are slamming shut on them. They played chess against someone who wasn't even on the same board. Because while they were busy competing for crumbs, you were building the whole damn bakery. They wanted to control you, to make you doubt yourself, to fit you into their tiny little box of expectations. But chosen ones don't fit into boxes. We shatter them. Number 2, your greatest advantage being ignored. The world has always feared what it cannot immediately categorize. It needs labels, needs to define you in a way that makes sense to them. And when they couldn't, they assumed you were beneath them. They assumed silence meant insignificance. They assumed patience meant passivity. But what they never understood was that silence is the breathing space of power. That waiting game, that's where revolutions begin. History repeats this lesson over and over, yet they never learn. Nikola Tesla was ridiculed by those clinging to the past, only to redefine the future. J.K. Rowling was cast aside by publishers who couldn't see the vision, only to create a cultural phenomenon. Steve Jobs was exiled from his own creation, only to return and revolutionize the world. You are no different. The ones who dismissed you, who thought you weren't sharp enough, strong enough, brilliant enough, they will be forced to acknowledge what they once ignored, not because you need their validation, but because your success makes their ignorance undeniable. They spent so much time looking down on you, thinking they had everything figured out, but now every step forward you take is a weight pressing on their chest. They didn't just underestimate you, they underestimated the very forces that chose you. And when a chosen one finally moves, it is never reckless. It is precise, it is unstoppable. They thought they were ahead, thought they had everything under control, but chosen ones don't chase opportunities. We create them. We don't beg for power, we become it. And the ones who overlooked you, they've already lost. Let them regret. Let them feel it. Because when the dust settles, you will be standing exactly where they said you never would. Number 3, their arrogance was their biggest gamble. Now they pay the price. Nothing haunts a fool more than realizing the one they mocked was always 10 steps ahead. The rise of a chosen one isn't loud, desperate, or seeking approval. It simply happens, unstoppable, undeniable, and irreversible. And by the time the world realizes what's unfolding, it's already too late. They thought they had you figured out, convinced themselves that if you weren't demanding attention, you weren't worth noticing. They mistook silence for ignorance, patience for weakness, and humility for incompetence. But now their arrogance has become their curse. Arrogance blinds, poisons, and weakens. It convinces fools they are geniuses, that their flimsy dominance is real power, and that their loud voices matter. But history has a brutal way of proving them wrong. David was just a shepherd until he dropped a giant. Einstein was dismissed as slow until he rewrote reality. Oprah was underestimated until she built an empire. Again and again, the lesson repeats. Never underestimate the quiet ones, the ones who watch, listen, and calculate. They mocked you, smirked at you, whispered behind your back, convinced of their own greatness. But the truth is you were never competing with them, never seeking their validation. That's what terrifies them most. You didn't need their approval to become everything they swore you wouldn't be. Now they feel it, the sinking realization, the creeping regret. It follows them everywhere. Every move you make, every level you ascend, burns them from the inside. They chose to overlook you. They chose to laugh at you. And now they are forced to live with the consequences of their blindness. Arrogance creates blind spots. The moment someone believes they have all the answers, they stop looking for new ones. They dismiss possibilities, ignore threats, and refuse to acknowledge brilliance unless it fits their perception. That's why they failed to see you for who you truly are. That's why their so-called intelligence was nothing but an illusion. They thought they had control, that they could define you, limit you, reduce you, but now they are choking on their mistake, imprisoned by their own regret. And the best part, you never had to do anything but keep moving, keep evolving, keep becoming. The universe handled the rest. Let them sit in their shame, because now the only thing they can do is watch as you become exactly what they swore you never would be. And that, more than anything, is the punishment they can never escape. Number 4, they had their chance. Now all they have left is regret. The worst pain isn't losing, it's realizing too late that you never even knew what you had. At first they barely noticed the shift. It's subtle, almost unrecognizable. Your name starts coming up in conversations. Your work begins making waves in places they thought were reserved only for them. At first they dismiss it as a fluke, a coincidence, a temporary stroke of luck. But then it happens again and again until denial is no longer an option. That person they mocked, that name they scoffed at, that presence they so confidently overlooked, you You are becoming something they can no longer afford to ignore, and now it's too late. They had their chance to respect you, to align with you, to recognize your worth before the rest of the world did. But they were too arrogant, too blinded by their false sense of superiority. They assumed they had you figured out, that you were insignificant, that you would never rise beyond what they decided you were. But what they failed to understand is that chosen ones don't need permission to become great. And now they feel it. The moment it all clicks, the moment they see with unbearable clarity that you were never beneath them, never behind them. You were simply waiting, preparing, sharpening your skills while they wasted time underestimating you. And now, as you step fully into your power, their confidence collapses under the weight of their misjudgment. The laughter is gone, the arrogance shattered, and the certainty they once had about their own importance is now replaced with the sickening realization that they were never as powerful as they thought. The dynamic has shifted forever. They are no longer in control. The tables have turned, and the regret is eating them alive. They scramble to justify why they never saw it coming, to explain how they miscalculated so badly, but deep down they already know the answer. The truth is, they were never as smart as they thought they were. They believed their own illusions. They thought power was about talking the loudest, dominating the conversation, making others feel small. But real power doesn't demand attention, it commands it. Now they watch helplessly as the opportunities they once took for granted slip through their fingers. The doors that were once wide open for them are closing. And the most brutal part, they are closing right in front of their eyes, and there is nothing they can do about it. They missed out not just on you, but on everything they could have gained by standing beside you instead of looking down on you. They let arrogance blind them, and now all they have left is regret. Number 5, the price of arrogance is regret, and they can never undo it. The cruelest truth? It's knowing you had everything needed to win but were too blind to see it. They thought they were ahead, convinced they had you figured out, but the truth is, they were being outmaneuvered the entire time. Their arrogance didn't just blind them, it buried them. They never saw it coming because they never thought they had to. And now they are left with nothing but regret. Power doesn't announce itself. It doesn't need to. It moves in silence, growing, adapting, weaving through the cracks of arrogance until it becomes undeniable. And by the time they finally understand what they lost, it's already too late. Regret is the heaviest burden a fool can carry. It lingers, festers, and eats at the mind. But hindsight is useless to the arrogant. By the time they realize their mistake, the doors they once walked through so effortlessly are locked forever, and they know it. History is filled with those who let their arrogance cost them everything. Kodak laughed at digital photography. Now they're irrelevant. Blockbuster dismissed Netflix, scoffing at its potential, and now they no longer exist. Yahoo had the chance to buy Google for just $1 million. But they believed they were too big to fail. Now Google is worth over $1 trillion. And this isn't just about companies. It's personal. The mentor who refused to nurture your talent now watches from the sidelines as you surpass them. The peer who ridiculed your ideas now struggles to catch up. The employer who undervalued you is forced to watch as you build something greater than they ever could. These weren't just mistakes. They were acts of hubris. They failed to recognize brilliance simply because it didn't fit their narrow expectations. And now all they have left is the bitter taste of regret. They underestimated you, dismissed you, believed you were unimportant. But now every success you achieve is a reminder of their failure. Every move you make proves them wrong again and again. And the worst part? They know it could have been different. If only they had opened their eyes sooner. If only they had let go of their arrogance. If only they had seen you before the whole world did. But the past doesn't offer second chances. Now they are trapped in their own failure, watching, regretting, knowing they played themselves in the worst way. Let them sit in their regret. Let them wrestle with their own ignorance. Because this is their reality now. They had their chance and they missed it. Number 6. They thought arrogance made them untouchable. Now it's their biggest curse. Arrogance isn't just blindness, it's destruction disguised as confidence. They had the chance to stand beside you, to witness something extraordinary, to be part of greatness before it was undeniable. And they let it slip through their fingers. Now they watch from the outside, haunted by a mistake they will never recover from. Their downfall wasn't your rise. Their downfall was their refusal to acknowledge it. They dismissed you without a second thought, laughed behind closed doors, wrote you off like a footnote in their story. But now they realize you were never a footnote. You were the whole damn book. And it's too late for them to turn back the pages. In a world that equates noise with power, the chosen ones understand something deeper. True strength lies in silence. While others scream for attention, broadcasting every minor success like it's a grand victory, You remained in the shadows, watching, calculating, learning. And they mistook your silence for weakness. What they never understood is that power isn't about volume, it's about control. The greatest warriors never announce their next move. The deadliest predators don't roar before they strike. The most formidable minds don't seek to prove their brilliance. They let the results speak for themselves. They should have known better. Look at chess. The best players don't reveal their strategy prematurely. They lull their opponent into a false sense of security, making small, seemingly insignificant moves. Then in a single stroke, they dismantle them completely. That is how chosen ones move. That is how you operate. They thought they were in control. They thought they were winning. And now they sit in disbelief, watching you execute a strategy they never even saw forming. While they were gloating, you were planning. While they were flexing their shallow victories, you were becoming unstoppable. Now checkmate. And the worst part for them? They can't undo it. Number 7. They thought they had time, but now it's too late. In business, the smartest companies move in stealth. They don't announce their plans. They develop their most powerful ideas behind closed doors, hidden from competitors. By the time their innovation is revealed, it's too late for anyone to react. That's exactly what you did. You moved quietly, avoiding the traps of their judgment, their mockery, their attempts to box you in, because you knew the truth. Your success was never meant for their approval, and now they are left scrambling. Scrambling for explanations, for excuses, for any reason other than the truth, because accepting the truth would mean admitting they were never as powerful as they believed. Power isn't just about knowing the game, it's about knowing when to move. They underestimated you. They assumed you weren't a threat, and now they are haunted by that mistake. Regret is a cruel master, because now every move you make reminds them of what they lost. Every success of yours is another nail in the coffin of their ego. They thought they had control over the narrative, but what they failed to realize is this. Chosen ones don't follow the script. We rewrite it, and now they are forced to live in a world where you are undeniable, where their arrogance no longer shields them from reality, where their superiority complex collapses under the weight of cold, hard truth, where they are no longer the ones in control. And you don't need revenge. You don't need validation, because the greatest punishment for them isn't your anger, it's your success. And that is something they can never take back. Number 8. They tried to define you. Now they watch as you redefine everything. The most dangerous kind of intelligence is the one they can't measure. They thought they had you figured out, believed they could confine your potential to their outdated formulas of success. Grades, social status, connections, privilege. But chosen ones don't fit into their fragile systems. We don't follow formulas, we break them. History is proof. Einstein was labeled a failure by the very system that now teaches his theories. Elon Musk was mocked for his visions, only to reshape entire industries. Vera Wang didn't design her first dress until 40, yet now she dominates fashion. Colonel Sanders franchised KFC in his 60s, proving success has no expiration date. What did they all have in common? They were underestimated, not because they lacked brilliance, but because their brilliance didn't fit the standard blueprint. That's why they doubted you. That's why they laughed, dismissed, and ignored you. Because their minds only process what is familiar, what is safe. But you were never meant to be predictable. The arrogant cling to logic, needing everything to fit neatly into categories they can control. And when something doesn't, they reject it. That's why they dismissed you. Not because you weren't intelligent, but because your intelligence didn't play by their rules. True intelligence thrives on creativity, resilience, and adaptation. That's why chosen ones don't just succeed, they dismantle the entire system. By the time the world recognizes their brilliance, the old structures that tried to contain them are already obsolete. The same people who laughed are now scrambling to catch up. They thought they could measure you, define you, control your destiny, but they failed to realize that the greatest minds don't follow systems, they create new ones. Now they have no choice but to watch as you become something they never saw coming. And by the time they acknowledge your worth, you've already moved beyond them. That is the ultimate justice. Number 9. The weight of their own regret. Some mistakes can be corrected. Underestimating a chosen one is not one of them. At first, they pretend not to see it. They tell themselves it's just a coincidence, that your success is a fluke, that somehow it will all fall apart. But deep down they know. The regret creeps in like a slow-burning fire, eating away at them piece by piece. The shame, the realization, the undeniable truth. They let something extraordinary slip through their fingers. And here's what haunts them the most. They can't go back. They had every chance, every opportunity to align with you, to stand beside you, to respect you before the world saw your worth. But they were too arrogant, too blind, too convinced of their own superiority, to recognize what was right in front of them. And now they are forced to watch from the sidelines, and it's eating them alive. At first they try to justify it. Maybe they got lucky. Maybe they changed. Maybe I was right about them back then. But those lies don't hold up for long. Because everywhere they turn, there you are, thriving, winning, becoming. You are proof that they were never as smart as they thought they were. That their arrogance wasn't just a flaw, it was their downfall. They watch as you step into everything they swore you never would. And the regret, it's suffocating. Because they don't just regret underestimating you, they regret what they lost in the process, the opportunities they could have had, the knowledge they could have gained, the moments they could have been a part of. But instead they chose to mock, dismiss, and doubt. And now they are the ones who have been left behind. Regret is a slow poison. It starts small, a passing thought, a vague discomfort. But then it lingers, it festers, it grows, it turns into sleepless nights and quiet moments of realization. It's the pit in their stomach when they hear your name. It's the hesitation before speaking your success out loud. It's the forced smile when someone praises you in their presence. Because the truth is inescapable. They didn't just overlook you, they failed you. And now it's too late to fix it. You never needed their approval. You never did. And now they are forced to sit with the weight of their own regret, knowing they had their chance and they threw it away. Number 10, the silence that haunts them. You don't have to say a word. Your success speaks for itself and it's deafening. They remember the last time they spoke to you, the arrogance dripping from their voice, the condescension in their tone, the way they dismissed you as if you were nothing. They thought they had you figured out, convinced of their own superiority, but now their words have dried up. They have nothing left to say, because reality has shattered the illusion they once lived in. The person they scoffed at, the name they ignored. You are everywhere now, thriving, rising, undeniable, and they can't stomach it. Their biggest mistake wasn't just underestimating you. It was assuming they would always be in a position to do so. Now the silence is eating them alive. They once mocked you, now they avoid you. They used to roll their eyes when you spoke. Now they can't even meet your gaze. They dismissed your ideas, now they steal from them. And the most brutal part, you haven't even addressed them. You never called them out, never sought revenge. You simply kept moving. That's what kills them the most. They expected you to crumble, to come crawling back, desperate for their approval. Instead, you became something they will never have access to again. And that reality is suffocating them. Your success is the loudest sound in their world now. They hear your name in conversations they aren't part of. They see your work in places they never thought you'd reach. They feel your presence even in rooms where you aren't there. Because the truth is, you don't need to be in the room to be remembered. And every time someone praises you, every time your name is spoken with respect, it burns. Because they had the chance to stand beside you before the world saw your worth. But they let their pride blind them. They convinced themselves you would always be beneath them, always reaching, always less. But now they can't escape the truth. Every reminder of your success is a reminder of their own ignorance. You don't even have to say, "I told you so." The silence says it for you. You don't acknowledge them. You don't seek their approval. And that is the real punishment. They want to believe they still matter in your world. They want to believe they still hold importance. But the truth is, you've already moved on. And that's what haunts them the most. Because your silence isn't just the absence of words, it is the presence of your success. And now they are the ones left speechless. That's all for today, dear Father. I pray for the growth of my faith. Help me trust you even when physical evidence is lacking. Let me believe in your perpetual presence, knowing you will never harm me. I understand that your thoughts for me are thoughts of prosperity and not harm, to give me a good future. Thank you, gracious and eternal Father, for always listening to my voice. I offer up this prayer to you in the name of Jesus. Amen. Thank you, Jesus, for your love and provision. I am grateful for your presence in my life and the abundance you bring. If this video resonated with you, please like, subscribe to the channel, and share it with those who need to hear this message. Leave a comment below about your journey and how you are preparing for your own triumphant return. If you'd like to support our work, please consider contributing through Buy Me a Coffee. This helps us continually improve our content to offer you the best. The link to Buy Me a Coffee is in the description. No gift is too small, whether it's a penny, a prayer, or a share. Your generosity helps spread God's word and brings hope to others. Don't stop here. Watch our next video.